Clara and Ethan met in a season of dreams. They dreamed of building a life together, of laughter in a small kitchen, of prayers whispered before sleep. But as the days grew heavier with expectations, bills, family opinions, and unanswered questions, their dreams slowly began to feel like weight instead of wings. Some nights, Clara would sit by her window, watching the streetlights flicker like tired stars. Her heart often raced faster than her thoughts. One evening, she finally spoke. She asked Ethan if he ever felt like they were trying to hold the whole world in their hands, like if they dropped one thing, everything would fall apart. Ethan admitted that he felt the same way. He told her that every day he woke up thinking about the future, about being enough, about failing her. He smiled during the day, but inside he felt like he was always running. They loved each other deeply, yet anxiety had quietly made a home between their conversations. It didn't shout. It whispered fear, doubt, and the pressure to be perfect. One evening, they visited Mrs. Harper, a gentle woman whose home always felt warm and calm. After listening to them, she smiled kindly and said they both looked like they were carrying invisible bags on their shoulders. Clara laughed softly and admitted that it truly felt that way. She said they kept praying, but the worries didn't seem to leave. Mrs. Harper told them something they would never forget. She said that sometimes people pray with their lips but keep holding the burden with their hands. Then she opened her Bible and read, "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." Ethan thought about the word cast and asked if it meant throwing something away. Mrs. Harper nodded and explained that it wasn't about placing worries down gently where they could pick them back up later. It was about throwing them into God's hands and trusting that He could hold them better than they ever could. Those words settled into their hearts, not like a command, but like an invitation. Clara admitted she was afraid the worry would come back the next day. Mrs. Harper smiled and told her that it probably would, and when it did, they should cast it again. She reminded them that faith wasn't a one-time action. It was a daily surrender. That night, Clara and Ethan walked home in a quiet that felt peaceful instead of heavy. Ethan suggested that instead of talking about everything they were scared of, they should give it all to God. Clara agreed, even the things they were afraid to say out loud. They sat together, hands clasped, and prayed. Clara gave God her fear of the future, her need to control everything, and the pressure she put on herself and on Ethan. Ethan gave God his worries about being enough, about providing, and about making the right choices. He asked God to teach him to trust him more than his own plans. The room didn't change. The walls stayed the same, but something inside them shifted. The next day, the problems were still there. The questions still existed. The future was still unknown. But now, when anxiety knocked, they answered differently. One afternoon, Clara smiled and said they should cast this worry too. Ethan joked that God's hands must be really strong by now. They began to replace panic with prayer, worry with worship, and overthinking with open hands. When money felt tight, they remembered that God promised to sustain those who cast their burdens on Him. When the future felt blurry, they remembered Jesus' words not to worry about tomorrow, because each day has its own concerns. Their love didn't become perfect, but it became peaceful. When Mrs. Harper visited again, she noticed the calm in their faces and told them they looked lighter. Clara said they had stopped trying to be each other's savior. Ethan added that they had started letting God be the center of their story. Anxiety didn't disappear forever, but it no longer ruled their relationship. God did, and in His care, they found something better than certainty. They found trust. They found rest. They found the quiet confidence that no matter what came next, they would not face it alone. They ended their journey with a simple prayer, asking God to hold every fear, every worry, and every uncertain tomorrow for every couple who might hear their story. They asked that relationships be built not on anxiety, but on faith. Love alone cannot carry the weight of life's worries. When couples try to be each other's savior, they grow tired and overwhelmed. But when they place God at the center and learn to cast their anxieties into His care, they discover peace that doesn't depend on perfect circumstances, but on trusting a perfect God.